They wanted to know what the fuck this music was, basically. Where it came from, who was doing it, how could you do it? At the same time, we always admired these type of people because they were, to us, pioneers.
The new sound was considered too avant-garde for the American mainstream, and once again, it was Europeans who would first pick up on it.
I never really understood the way that with dance music, where people fought against it. I mean, even in America, when New Order used to go, there was a lot of resistance from you using sequences. Americans didn't like using sequences, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's a machine.
Interesting. And I'd rather see a room full of machines coming out with a great dance track than some boring fat session musicians who are way past the sell-by date, playing music that is way past its sell-by date as well.
It's sad in the 20th century and in the 90s, we have to still go the same bullshit route that other artists have had to go to get acceptance. Black artists. Because we're not entertaining bouffon idiots, we have to go someplace else to be accepted. And that's absolute bullshit. If it wasn't for the independence, if it wasn't for the small little dinky little cities and the few little ghetto black guys trying to make music, it would have never happened. As quiet as it's kept. Some of these guys will never make a dime. Some of these guys will be poor and die alone. But in the process, they've been the true renegades. And the true rebels always walk alone anyway.
The new electronic producers like Derek May were often relatively anonymous and found it difficult to get their work played on American FM radio. The music had to find its listeners in small clubs where, in cities like Chicago, it was nurtured and developed by a DIY underground dance scene.
The main focus of any great club has always been the dance floor and the sound system. When you take clubs like Continental Baths or the Loft, the Garage, the Warehouse in Chicago, the thing that was being sold at those clubs was the dance floor and the sound system. Those are the most important things. I didn't know very much about a whole lot of the technology. Probably the person that helped me to think about moving into production a lot more seriously was Derek May. Derek May gave me my first drum machine. He used to always tell me, you really ought to think about being a producer.
Jack the Beat Godfather, Jack the Beat Godfather, Father, Jack the Beat Godfather.
More melodic than techno, house music took its name from a club called the Warehouse, where Frankie Knuckles was the resident DJ.
Back in 1989, I was doing a remix for the Pet Shop Boys, Left to My Own Devices.
I could leave you, say goodbye.
And the song was like 138, 140 beats per minute. And they wanted me to do a house mix on it, and I just thought that was entirely too fast. And the only way I can do with it what I needed to do with it was I needed to slow it down.
Say goodbye, or I could love you if I tried, and I could, and left to my own devices.
I think the necessity of house mixes and remixes on so much music that comes out, especially the rock music, it doesn't always work. Lil Louis Vega just finished remixing a song for Julio Iglesias. And he did a whole house thing. He did the typical Masters at Work thing with it, which, I'm sorry, I don't see Julio Iglesias in here. The first time I actually realized that house had become a worldwide, I guess, quote-unquote phenomena was with Madonna's Vogue. I just looked at that record and what it had done here in the United States, and I just thought, it's legit now.
Back to life, back to reality, back to life, back to reality, back to life, back to reality.
1989, the Clubland sound was so successful that Soul to Soul made the top of the charts on both sides of the Atlantic by combining American hip-hop with British funk and Jamaican bass lines.
Fat skinny man died of a big disease one little May. By chance his girlfriend came across some needlets and she did the same. At home there's 17-year-old boys and they're had their fun. Being in a gang called the Disciples, high on crack, toting a machine gun.
The explosion of black dance music and its effect on rock and roll was brilliantly summed up by Prince. He showed how a combination of melody and guitars, the focal points of the 60s and 70s generations, could now be combined with 80s dance rhythms to give new life to rock and roll.
Hurricane out and ripped the ceiling off the church and killed everyone inside. You turn on the telly and there the other story is telling somebody died. My sister killed her baby cause she couldn't afford to feed it and was sending people to the moon. September my cousin tried to reach for the very first time. Now he's doing horse. It's June.